Okay, stop what you are doing because on Saturday, on 30th of May in Budapest, we are getting to the final of the UEFA Champions League, and then that nobody predicted that this will happen. Paris Saint-Germain, one-time winner against no-time winner in Puka's Arena. So one trophy, listen carefully, one trophy. And then before I go deep into this conversation, I will give you the most insane stat to frame these entire conversations, and then who to win the UEFA Champions League at the end of the day between Paris Saint-Germain and against Arsenal. So Paris Saint-Germain has recorded 44 goals in this year's UEFA Champions League. Why Arsenal 6 goals in 14 games, and yet they are unbeaten. Will they carry that unbeaten to win the UEFA Champions League? That is what we need to know in this five sport podcast studio with Kenny Adidire. So that's the story of this final right now. The most dangerous attack in the histories of this competition versus the most organized defensive structure in this year tournament. Attack versus defense. That is one you need to look at. You need to look out for. So today, I'll be giving you 5 things, proper tactical, fact-based things to look out for on the Saturday. Manager system, players to look out for, head-to-head history, stats, and all. So let's go. Point 1 of this is the tactical battle. 2 Pep disciplines, 2 philosophies. All right. The thing to understand is that both of these managers are cut from the same cloth. Mikel Arteta, Luis Enrique, both deeply influenced by Guardiola positional play. Yes, both of them are from the cloth of Pep Guardiola. Both running on the same formation of 4-3-3 as their base, and yet they arrived at the final completely in the different ways in this UEFA Champions League. Let me start with Luis Enrique and Paris Saint-Germain. Let me start with them because they are the they are the last winner of UEFA Champions League. His system is what analysts are calling 4-3-3 that's more metamorphosed into 3-2-5 in possessions. What does that mean practically? Achraf Hakimi, who is the most best right back on the planet, pushes all the way into the attacking position in the midfield, almost like a winger. Ventia dropped between the centre back to become a third defender and launch his own attack from deep. In the midfield, we have João Neves. Will always roam channel to connect the defense and then the attack. And that striker, Ousmane Dembele, often drop wide to create overload. With all this player I'm listing will not be a problem for Arsenal defense line. Let's take a look at it. Every single rotation is deliberate. This isn't chaos. It's structured freedom under Luis Enrique. The idea is to convince your marker constantly so they don't know who to track in any position. So, and then on top of that, the moment PSG lose the ball, the entire team, they counter press at once. They all goal at once. No hesitation. They want the ball back within seconds. Now talking about Arsenal defense line. Now I've mentioned up to 3 players. So Arsenal defense line, different engine, different fuel. Arsenal operates on 4-3-3 same formation, but they flip into 4-2-3-1 compared to 3-2-5 formation, depend on the phase. When building from the back, they go wider to progress through the midfield. When they get into the final third, they narrow centrally to overload shooting zone. The left back, talking about Lewis Kelly, will invert into the midfield, creating a numeric overload in the midfield for Arsenal. That is 4-2-3-1 when they are metamorphosing in the situation of the game. But the key to Arteta's system is this. Listen carefully. The thing to make Arsenal genuinely elite is what happened in the second after they lose the ball. their pressing triggers are coordinate across the entire squad. Counter press, coordinate across the entire squad. Send get it, be decoding it. Opponents receive passes with a close body shape. Forward passing options are already blocked before the ball arrives in the defense line of Arsenal. Declare Rice. You get that? Attackers hesitate, and Arsenal collapse the space before any counter attack can develop. So one analyst described it as perfectly Manchester City dominate through ball retention. So Arsenal dominate through prayer and deny after loss. That is the system. That is the philosophy. The coaching drill on Saturday on the 30th of May. And it's going to be fascinating which structure bend first. So I've mentioned 5 players for Paris Saint-Germain and the Arsenal. Point 2 is this. Player to watch out for in this game. The men who will decide this final. Now let's talk about the players. And then I'm giving you the 3. I'm giving you 3 from each side. Forget about that one. This one will actually decide the game. Starting from PSG, Ousmane Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner. And if you haven't been watching UEFA Champions League this season, let me put you on the hot seat. Ousmane Dembele has got 16 goals contributions in the UEFA Champions League for Paris Saint-Germain knockout stage since last season. 10 goals, 6 assists. No player in the span comes close to Ousmane Dembele anywhere. Are you getting that? Number 1. He scored last year UEFA Champions League, clinching contributions against Inter Milan, who defeated Barcelona in the semi-final. And then he is the PSG alpha in the biggest moments of Paris Saint-Germain. Like I said, Kylian Mbappe left, Ousmane Dembele came in. So the bookmaker have him on the shortest price to score anyone in the game. Second player to look out for is Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian player. The one they can call Quara. This man has equaled PSG all-time record for Champions League goals in a single edition. 10 goals this season alone for Quara. And in the knockout phase, nobody is entire competitions has more goal involvement than him. Talking about Kvaratskhelia. 7 goals and 3 assists. 10 goal contribution is later. And when we come back to why Arsenal need to be specifically afraid of him in the minute. Thirdly, Ventia in the midfield. He is the conductor of Paris Saint-Germain midfield. People always focus on the attack, but Ventia is the man who makes Paris Saint-Germain system click. He drop, he circulate, he breaks the line, he dictates the rhymes of the game. If you are watching this final and you want to know who is controlling the game, watch Ventia. Watch him very well. Watch his ball movements. You will see. Or go back to every clip of Ventia, then you will understand what I'm saying. Now to Arsenal, the Gunners, the EPL champion. First is to look out for Bukayo Saka. He scored goals that sent Arsenal to the final against Atletico de Madrid. A rebound finish against Atletico de Madrid in the semi-final second leg. He is now Arsenal's 4th all-time Champions League goal scorer, tied with Cesc Fabregas, and then he's the heartbeat of the team in the big games. I'm sorry. Yes. He's the heartbeat of the team in the big moments. The PSG knows that very well. Luis Enrique should be aware of that. The second player is Victor Gyökeres. Yes. The man Arteta signed specifically to fix Arsenal goal scoring problem. In 2024-2025, not a single Arsenal player scored more than 10 league goals. The first time this happened is over a century. Victor Gyökeres and then came in and they became the answer for that problem. He's physical, he's relentless, he's pressing. And then his work rate will be harassing Paris Saint-Germain backline from front, and then it will be just as important as his goal. The third player to look out for Arsenal is Declan Rice, the midfield maestro. He doesn't get enough credit in these conversations. Yes, people do not give him credit. Declan Rice is the reason Arsenal defensive structure works, and then where it does. It's just like specifically I cannot compare Declan Rice with Rodri. But come to think of it, in the midfield, we have Vintia, Neves, Zari, Emery. Rice is the man Arteta needs to win this battle in the game. Point 3. The stats that tell two very different stories right now. Let's get into the numbers because we are wide. I'm so eager to see the final. Paris Saint-Germain this season in the Champions League, 44 goals scored. They are one away from breaking all-time single season goals record in this competition, set back in 1999 to 1999-2000 with just 45 goals. One goal away from the history. Definitely they will catch it up. And then in the knockout stage alone, just the run from the last 16 onward, they have scored 23 goals. Arsenal in the knockout games, 6 goals. 6. They went into the Atletico semi-final having scored in 8 consecutive UEFA Champions League matches. Atletico shut them out in the second leg, and Arsenal still won to reach the final on 1-0. And then the difference between these two sides, Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal, is the pure attacking output is 17 goals in the knockout stage. The biggest gap between the two finalists in the Champions League history. So, Arsenal are unbeaten in the UEFA Champions League this season. 11 wins, 3 draws across 14 games. They have 9 clean sheets in this competition. Talking about David Raya, salute you. One away from equaling all-time record for a single UEFA Champions League edition. A record that actually set themselves back in 2005-2006. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? So what you have is the most dangerous attack against best defensive structure. Are you decoding it? PSG has never in the 64 consecutive UEFA Champions League knockout matches draw 0-0. Arsenal whole identity is to build on making that happen to opponents. Something has to give in the final at the Pukas Arena in Budapest. And whosoever blink first on Saturday is probably losing. Number 4. Head to head. Head to head. History. Revenge is on the table. Now let's talk about the history because this is not the first time these two clubs have met in the UEFA Champions League. The all-time record across the 7 meetings between Paris Saint-Germain and the Arsenal stands at 2 wins each and 2 draws. 2 wins each and 2 draws. Though UEFA lists it as 2 wins each with 3 draws. Their most recent meetings were brutal for Arsenal. Last season in the semi-final, Paris Saint-Germain won 3-1 on aggregate. Paris Saint-Germain won 3-1 on aggregate. Dembele scored a 1-0 winner in London in the first leg, and the Paris Saint-Germain won the second leg on 2-1 in Paris. Meanwhile, we have Fabian Ruiz and then Achraf Hakimi scored. Bukayo Saka's late goal was just a consolation for Arsenal, but this is important. Arsenal beat Paris Saint-Germain in the league phase this season. Do you remember? Goal from Kai Havertz and Bukayo Saka. That was the only time PSG lost by multiple goals in any of these, in many of their 15 Champions League match last year. It's getting more interesting to watch. Arsenal know they can hurt them. They understand. But the historical contest goes even further back. let's rewind this back. In 1993-1994, in the Cup Winners' Cup semi-final, these two met. Arsenal won on aggregate on the 1-all draw in Paris, and then 1-0 home win in Highbury then Stadium. So Arsenal have a blueprint of knocking out Paris Saint-Germain in the European competitions. But here is a comfortable start for Arsenal. For Arsenal fans, relax, calm down. PSG have now won 5 successful Champions League knockout ties against the English club Liverpool, Aston Villa, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool again in their last 12 UEFA competitions matches against any English oppositions. They have lost just one. 1 in 12 games. That's the mountain Arsenal they will be climbing right now. So they are climbing it anyway to reach the final, and then expectation be that Arsenal could win this. And then the last 5.5 this evening is Kvaratskhelia problem, and then the Arsenal biggest fear. Okay, listen carefully. We need to talk about this specifically because this is a tactical matchup that could define the final. And the last season semi-final first leg, which Paris Saint-Germain won 1-0 in London. The opening goal, if you remember, came from Kvaratskhelia exploiting Arsenal their right side rather. He got to the better of Julian Timber on that flank, drove at him, and then he flipped the ball to Dembele, who finished from a close range. Simple, clinical, devastating. You know, Thierry Henry watching that game as a pundit said immediately after the game, PSG wanted to be on front of the game, and that the first mistake Arsenal did is how Bukayo Saka went to the press. PSG exploited the gaps on the right side of Arsenal against Julian Timber in the defensive structure. Now Mikel Arteta is now one of the sharpest tactical minds in Europe. We have to watch that back 1,000 times. The question is now this: does he change his right back from Julian Timber and to who? Does he set a specific defensive trap for Kvaratskhelia, or does he ask Saka to track back harder and access less attacking output? Because if Kvaratskhelia has space to run at Arsenal right flank against Julian Timber in Budapest the way he did in London last season, they might not. But this could be a long night for the Gunners. Let me just give you this before I leave. Things that might actually happens on the night or right before I wrap this up. Things that might actually happen. Here are the 5 predictions of the match itself. 1. Kvaratskhelia targets Arsenal right side again. Same channel, same principle. If Timber starts, expect PSG to test him early of the game. Number 2, Arsenal first goal. If they score, come from a set piece or a counter attack, not from the sustained possession play. Arsenal will score from a set piece or a counter attack, not from the sustained possession play. That's not how Arteta low scoring but ruthless team operate. They absorb, they wait, they punish. Third one, the midfield battle between Rice and Odegaard in the midfield versus Vintia and then Neves decide the rhymes of the game. Whosoever wins that zone control the final. Vintia, Neves, Odegaard, and then Declan Rice. Number 4, Dembele delivers in the big moments. He always does. 16 knockout goals contribution He scored in the last year final. Here is the build for the night like this. Lastly, on on number 5, this goes through extra time or penalties. The probability is that PSG has 42% and the Arsenal has 29%, and the draw for 90 minutes is just 28.7%. So the market is saying genuinely too close to call. Arsenal defense doesn't give goals away cheaply. PSG don't play a timid football. First goal probably decide it, and if it stay levels after 90 minutes, get ready for one dramatic finishes in the Champions League history. So that is it. That's a breakdown. That's it. That's your breakdown. Two of the best coach in the world. Two completely contrasting style of game. Defensive against attacking football. One of the most loaded Champions League final in the years. PSG, the defending champion, the most dangerous team in Europe, chasing back-to-back UEFA Champions League. And the Arsenal, the unbeaten in the 14 games, 20 years in makings. Arteta live works online in Budapest, Saturday on the 30th of May, 5 p.m. We are waiting to watch this. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Kenny Adediwe. So let me just give my prediction. Arsenal to win this UEFA Champions League. Go and write it